Okay, I'm going to share a story with you now. It's about Michigan. The Michigan porn ban bill raises alarms for trans community. So why am I covering this? Because this actually affects trans people in a big way, and I'm going to explain why it affects trans people in a big way. So let me just share the page with you so you can see what's going on here. So what is this article about? Why have I chose to cover a story about banning porn? Okay, well, I'll tell you why, because it's focusing quite heavily on trans people. Now, let's see what the article's about, and then I'll discuss some more of this. So there's been a House Bill 4938 introduced by a Republican representative, John John Shivers. Anyway, seeks to ban nearly all online pornography in porn in Michigan. Okay, which okay, so that's what he wants to do. The bill's language is sweeping. It covers not just explicit videos, but text, animation, audio, and even suggestive material like ASMR moaning. Okay, there we go. A controversial clause criminalizes depictions of a discounting between biological and gender. Right. This is where we get more into it. So what is part of this this law focuses on trans people basically, and this is the key thing. Why do they want to put this law in? Because it will affect trans people, and it won't just affect trans people when it comes to pornographic material. This could apply to drag, transgender visibility, or any gender non-conforming expression. So, me being online right now in Michigan. So, for example, if this law gets, I mean, is this been law being passed? If this law is in place in Michigan, that means that me being online could be classed, because I'm trans, as pornographic material, which means it could be banned in the state of Michigan. So it's a way of stopping, using this as a kind of like a backdoor way of actually banning trans people's visibility. So let's see. So penalties include felony charges, prison sentence, and six-figure fines for individuals and platforms. So, I mean, just get to the basic facts with this. At the beginning, it sounds like, okay, so he wants to ban porn. He's not the first person who wants to do that. A lot of places want to do that. They use the reason to protect children and so on and so on, and whatever. But the reason this is bad is because they're trying to group trans people's visibility into this, which means that basically, even me being on this site here doing this, Michigan could argue, oh, YouTube shouldn't allow trans people onto YouTube, because this is classed as porn in Michigan, which means just having trans people's visibility. So it means you can cut trans people and erase trans people from visibility in these areas. While supporters frame it as protecting children, critics warn it equates to trans existence being taken away. It threatens free speech and LGBTQ plus rights. Yeah. So that means no drag queens, no visible trans people, or anyone who's not gender conforming could be just criminalized just for existing under this law. Why does it matter? So the bill effectively treats transgender visibility, drag performances, or even self-expression as obscene material, reflecting identity. So making identity as a crime. So the free speech, its scope extends as far beyond pornography. It threatens books, art, online communication, and basic creative expression. Legal experts say it clashes directly with First Amendment protection. Yeah, I mean, so it's not just the fact that like me being online here would kind of be banned in Michigan. It also means that anything like any books that depict trans people in them, or drag queens or anything like that, any movies with trans people in them. So it is a way of basically erasing trans people. Um, And this is how they try to do it. This is how they do it to try and get rid of us out of society. What about the harm then? So even if the bill fails, the framing itself is damaging. By linking trans lives to pornography, it fuels stigma, isolation, and hostility. Um, Narratives that just exclude. Yeah. So the thing is, even if this doesn't actually pass, so this law, just because they've created this law, there is people that will now latch onto this and use this as you know basically justification to hate on trans people. The transphobes will just have this now as like, well, look, it's the same as pornography. Being trans is the same as pornography, and I just see it as like a slippery slope to try and erase trans people. Um, so the vagueness of the bill could push platforms, so like YouTube and other things online. It could for schools and institutions over policies on content, erasing trans voices and from online and public spaces. Yeah, that's the key thing, and that's why I was when I looked at it originally, I thought, well, this looks stupid, but when I read into it, I was like, so yeah, this basically means they can try and erase trans people's voices, because this is a way, like, hell yeah, we can stop movies about trans people, we can stop, online videos about trans people. So in the United States, Michigan's pro, echo. So okay, so in Michigan, this echoes other moral drive bills. So example, book bans and drag restrictions. Yeah, they've already started to do that in parts of America. So banning books, banning drag shows. This conflates trans lives with it makes obstructions for trans people. It adds to a wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation in conservative states. Yeah, so in the conservative states they're using these ways to try and erase trans people. In United Kingdom, book bans and drag bans are not law. Fortunately, they're not doing it right now. But the thing is, it could happen in the future. That's the problem. All right. So in the UK, so like protect. So they use it to say that it's protecting children from LGBTQ plus content. Um, it's the same as the moral panic and media drives culture wars and plays similar roles in shaping historicity. Yeah, so it's just in the UK. In the UK, we're using it as a culture law. So I mean, culture war. They are doing this. They are using it to try and push down trans voices already. But this is something that they could use this eventually in the UK. I've said that obviously already in countries like Hungary, they've got the anti-LGBTQ propaganda laws. They've got Russian gay propaganda ban. I mean, basically, we don't want to end up like Russia, how they treat trans people there. But Canada and New Zealand both under law, the cultural. So yeah, basically Canada and New Zealand, they're more, like I said already, they're more acceptant. Um, what can we say about globally then? So what does the bill do? It shows how easy you say the word protecting children becomes a cover for suppressing more identity and making identities, illegal, basically. And the international frame is being used to justify censorship, erasing visibility, and weakening human right protection. Yeah. So I think overall, what I wanted to say about this was, it seems very like, okay, you're saying you want to restrict pornography, and like here in the UK, we've recently had a similar law put forward, where they've actually banned. I think now, if you want to watch pornography in the UK, you have to sign, you have to show some ID or something to watch it or something now. So that's what we've got going in this country. But it's always used for other reasons. Like on the face, you say, okay, so you want to restrict that so children don't see it. I can understand what you mean there. But then it's like, but then they use it for something else. And in Michigan, they're using it to try and silence and erase trans people. So it's quite a scary thing. It's another tactic that we're seeing in America that could spread over to here in the UK. And that's why I thought it was worth kind of looking at, because I think that, you know, we have to be aware of these things because it is possible that that might happen. It's very possible.